Hey guys, a lot of you asked for a tutorial for these shorts that are basically just made out of mostly half double crochets. So I'm deciding to do a tutorial today. I just got back from the store. I got some weight 4 acrylic yarn and I'm gonna be using a 5mm hook. And I'm also gonna need scissors and a darning needle, and I think that's about it. That's all you need. Just a little breakdown, the majority of these shorts are made up of half double crochets, but we're gonna start with doing the waistband, and we're gonna do a foundation single crochet. I'm gonna show you how to do that if you don't know already. And then we're gonna do a front post, back post double crochet. This is still for the waistband. I'm also gonna show you how to do that. And then we're gonna do a whole bunch of half double crochets. We're gonna do increases at the beginning of the row and at the end of the row. We're gonna create this middle part, and then we're going to do one leg hole at a time, and then you'll be finished. It's pretty easy. I don't know if I would say that this is a complete beginner's tutorial, but definitely like an experienced beginner's tutorial. I honestly got some more of this blue yarn too, because these are just a little baggy on me, and I decided that I want to make them into like sweatpants. So come join my obsession with this pattern, and I really hope you guys enjoy. Send me your pictures of your final product, and good luck! It's gonna be fun. This very first measurement is going to be our most important measurement, and that's gonna be like our waist size. My jeans are like super high-waisted, so let me like fold them down. But we're gonna get our waist size here, and when you measure, it might be like a little bit bigger than your jean size. Like I measured 32, 31. I am not at all a jean size 31. I'm more of like a 27, 28. So when we do our foundation single crochets, the length that we're gonna chain is gonna be your waist measurement, but like knock a couple inches off, because when you crochet it, it's gonna stretch out. It's definitely gonna stretch out. But don't even trip too much about exact measurements, because after you're done your chain, or as you're working up your chain, you can literally just wrap it around and like see if you can like slide it up and down, because like that's the whole point. You don't want to like have shorts that you can't get up your hips because it's too small, okay? We're gonna make it to fit you, okay? So again, I'm gonna be using these colors. So first you're gonna have to pick which color you want to use for the waistband. So I'm gonna do a lighter color for the waistband and then the darker color for the rest of the shorts. But this is what it would look like if you did like dark color for the waistband, lighter color for the rest of the shorts. And I'm gonna do a lighter color for the waistband and dark color for the rest of the shorts. We're gonna start off the waistband by making a slip knot, and then we are going to chain 2. And then in the very first chain that we made, we're gonna make a single crochet. 1 single crochet. And then you have your single crochet right here, and you have also these two, you have this and then you have this. We're gonna do a single crochet in this right here. You see what I'm talking about? Like this. A single crochet in there. So we insert our hook into there, and then we just do a single crochet. And then that's all we're gonna do for the foundation single crochet chain. We're just gonna insert there, boom. And we're gonna keep doing that until we have our waist measurement, or about our waist measurement. For me, I'm gonna do a total of 90. I find that that works best for me. And here is my last stitch, 90. And we have a big long chain, pretty big long chain. You were probably trying it on as you were going just to see if it would fit you right or not, but this is my size. Like I'm leaving a little bit of space too, just because this part is not as big as my hips. Like my hips go out and then this goes in, but I'm comfortably able to pull this up and down, and that's how it should be. Do not worry about the waist being like perfectly tight. Like you want the space, you want it to be able to fit around your hips, and that is what the drawstring is for. We're gonna pull that waist tight, baby. Okay, but let's move on. All right, now we have our work. We're gonna chain 2. I know it's backwards on the camera right now, but that's okay. We're gonna chain 2, turn your work, and then you're gonna place a double crochet in every single one of these stitches. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Every single stitch, guys. Double crochet. We're double crocheting down the line. Double crocheting down the line. Whoop, whoop. All right, guys, we're straight up hustling. We're about to get to our last stitch. Hustlin'. All right, it shouldn't look like this. That's your last stitch right there. Boom. Last stitch. So now you have an entire row of double crochets, but we're not done yet. This waistband is too skinny. Chain 2. Chain 2, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever. Now we're going to get into our front post, back post, double crochet. We're going to start with a front post, and if you don't know how to do it, I'm going to show you. I'm sorry, I used dark yarn. I'm sorry, okay? So this chain 2 is already on top of here. So we're going to move on to this next one right here, and we're going to do a front post double crochet. This is a post. Post, post, post. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to lift up this post by going behind it, but we're going to do a double crochet in it. So yarn over, insert your hook, make it come out through the other side like this. Double crochet. Finish your double crochet. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Boom. You just did a front post, double crochet. And then for the back post, we're going to do the same thing but in the back. So we're going to yarn over, and then this one's going to go in from the back side. So it's going to go through here and then here. So it's going to go through like that. You're going to yarn over, 3 loops on the hook, finish your double crochet, boom, back post. So you see how this one's up front, this one's behind? Yep, you're going to do it again. Front post goes through like so. Double crochet. Back post goes through in the back like so. Double crochet. Should be looking like this so far. Front post, double crochet, back post, double crochet. So you're essentially just like scooping the post front to back and doing a double crochet. Like scoop the post from the front, double crochet. Scoop the post from the back, double crochet. So it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, guys. You got this. But once you learn how to do it, you really get the hang of it and you realize that this is such a groovy stitch. I love this stitch. It's one of my favorite stitches, and I honestly don't know that many stitches. Front post, back post. Front post, back post. Yeah. Front post, back post. All right. I'm gonna shut up and let you guys crochet until the very, very, very end. All right, I'm at the end of the row. How about you? Or if you're not, pause the video. Pause the video, please, because we're at the end of the row. Second to last stitch, I did a front post, and then I'm gonna do a back post in the last post. But really, that was not the last post because you have your chain 2 right here, and we're gonna do a front post in that. But if you end in a back post, do the back post. You're still just alternating. So the end should look just like that. Anyways, we're gonna chain 2. We're gonna turn our work, and then we're gonna do another row of front post, back post, double crochets. But this row is gonna be way easier because your posts are actually lifted. So it's gonna be less of a pain to get your double crochet through. So you're gonna look at it, and then you're gonna see this is coming forward, this is going backwards, this is coming forward, this is going backwards. So if it's coming forwards, you're gonna do front post double crochet. Now it's going backwards, we're gonna do a back post double crochet. And you guys have gotten the hang of it already. But just make sure you're going through the post of this row. Like when you double crochet, you're double crocheting through here and not through like down here, right here. And then we're just gonna repeat that all the way to the end of the row again. I'll meet you at the end of the road of the front post, back post, double crochets. The end of the row, we're approaching it right now. I promise you guys, this is the last row of foundation double crochets. Like, we're not gonna do another row. We are done now. But now we're gonna take a little zoom out and we're gonna see if it's back and forth. Like if there are 2 front posts, like if you did like front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post, and like maybe you did some doubles, double check. If you did, you're gonna have to go back and fix them. But if you did and you don't go back and fix them, I'm not freaking judging. Whatever you want to do. We are going to fold it in half, and then we're going to slip stitch both of the sides together now. So boom, we're going to fold it in half. But honestly, I'm going to fold it in half the other way, just so I can do my slip stitches easier, so I can push it in this way. And I'm not even going to chain 1. I'm just going to go straight into the other side, into the other corner. just pull it through. You might not see the exact stitches, but it's okay. Just go for it. Go for it with your eyes closed, guys. Not actually. Open your eyes. Okay, and then like go like this so you can see if you slip stitch all the way through, you didn't miss a corner or something. And after you single crocheted all the way through, you're gonna chain 1. Turn your work. And now you're gonna single crochet in every stitch around. So we can insert just like in whatever first space, single crochet. And then I'm gonna take this end that's kind of hanging right here and I'm going to work it in with my single crochets. So when I single crochet, I'm gonna line it up and then I'm gonna single crochet over it while it kind of lays flat. And then this way, we're not gonna have to weave in this end when we're finished the project because it's gonna be hidden. It's gonna be hiding away. This single crochet may seem a little unnecessary, but it is very necessary just because it gives you this clean line right before you switch to color number 2. And I just feel like it would look so much more sloppy if we didn't do the single crochets first, so trust the process. So we're just gonna go to town with these single crochets until the very end of the row, and I'll meet you there. Congratulations, you've made it to the end, but if not, pause the video. Very last single crochet, but you're not gonna finish it. You're not gonna finish it. You're gonna grab number 2, color number 2, and then you're gonna pull through the last 2 hoops on your hook with that color. This is my color number 2. We're gonna leave a little tail so that we can weave in, but I'm not gonna weave it in. I'm gonna hide it like I did with that last tail. Hold it tight, pull through the last 2 loops, and then do a slip stitch in that very first chain. Chain 1, turn your work. And now we're gonna start with our half double crochets and we're gonna hide these tails just like we did before. The way I do it is line up both of them and then I can cut the brown yarn the same size. But now that we've chained 1 and turned our work, we're gonna work our first half double crochet in the very first stitch. Half double crochet, and then we're gonna start hiding these under. Hiding it under. We're gonna do half double crochets for the entire round. Before you're really committed, make sure you try this on. Try it on and see if it fits. See if it fits just like this. And it's honestly okay if it's a little loose on the waist. That's what the drawstring is for. But as long as it doesn't fall all the way down and as long as it actually goes up past your hips, that's the goal. That's the goal. It's honestly the most tricky part about this project is getting that sizing right. But I will meet you at the end of this row after we are done filling it with half double crochets. Half double crochet all the way. Honestly, I'm just now realizing that I said I was going to do the waistband with the lighter color and then I was going to do the rest of the shorts with the darker color. I'm just realizing that and I am not mad at it. I'm not mad that I'm doing the lighter color short. It was meant to be, honestly. Okie dokie, I'm at the end of the row. I'm on my very last stitch. Half double crochet, and I'm gonna mark this stitch with a stitch marker just because in the other shorts that I did, I found that I was having trouble keeping, I think I was like doing too many stitches. I'm not gonna do too many stitches this time. Our last stitch is marked, but maybe I should mark my first stitch, but I don't even care. Now we're gonna do a slip stitch in the top of here. We're gonna chain 1. We're gonna turn our work and let us do another row of half double crochets, guys. Like I said before, this project is literally just made up of half double crochets and you're going to keep doing half double crochets until you need to start increasing. And the place that you have to start increasing is at your hip points because these are women's shorts and on a lot of women our hips get a little wider. But even if your hips don't get that wide or they don't get wide at all, you're just going to do increases based on your own body and your own measurements. Right, very last half double crochet right there. And then I'm going to slip stitch in this first space. Boom, slip stitch, chain 1, turn your work, and then you're gonna start your row again. Another row of half double crochets. But right now I'm gonna try it on and I'm gonna show you guys where to stop, how to know where to stop. When you try this on, you should do this without any pants, and you should honestly do the measurements as well without any pants. And you're just gonna put it on like this. So you see how mine just goes up and down so effortlessly, like it doesn't take any squeezing or anything. And there's still like a good amount of space, like it can just shimmy down. Even when it's at my hip points, when it goes out wide, there's still space to stretch, and that's exactly how it should be. So when it comes to knowing when it's gonna stop, I like my waistband to sit right there. So you're gonna repeat the rows of half double crochets until you need to start expanding, until you need to start increasing for your hip size. So not everybody has the same body shape as me. So for me, I'm gonna start increasing right about here. And just keep in mind also that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, you don't need the perfect amount of increases. You don't need the perfect amount of half double crochets before you do the increases, you know? And I honestly wouldn't stress about making it perfect as long as you can like get a good feel of it as you try it on as you go. And that is the real key to this project, is you just have to keep trying it on as you go. Because it's gonna get to the point that it looks like a skirt, or it's like starting to like actually be something else than something other than a waistband. And I'll be trying mine on for you guys as I go, just to give you an example of like what I'm doing when I'm doing it, just so you can get a feel for what to do yourself. But it really is pretty self-explanatory. You just do the half double crochets and then you increase. But for the increase rows, I'm going to show you what to do when I'm there, obviously. I feel like what I just said was a little confusing and might have thrown some of you off track, but like don't let what I said confuse you. I'm a little confused about what I said myself, but it's whatever. We're doing rows of half double crochets until before our hips get a little wide. Like right before our hips get a little wide. This is where I'm at right now. I did 6 rows, and now I think I'm gonna do 2 more rows, 1 or 2 more rows before I start doing my increases. Okay, I did 8 rows of half double crochet, and I'm gonna stop right here, and then I'm gonna start doing my increases, and I am going to show you how. So after you've done your slip stitch, you chain 1, turn your work just as normal, and then in the first stitch, you're gonna put 2 half double crochets. And then you're gonna do a regular row of half double crochets all the way through again. But then when you reach the very last stitch right here, you're also gonna put 2 half double crochets in there. So you did your 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then I'll meet you at the end of the row. Now, once you make it to the end of the row, in the very last stitch, which is gonna be here for me, I'm gonna put 2 half double crochets in that same stitch. And then you slip stitch, chain 1, and then I'm gonna do the same thing again. And for me, that's about 6 rows of increases. So again, to start an increase row, you put 2 half double crochets in the same stitch, do the whole round of half double crochets, and on the very last stitch, you're gonna do 2 half double crochets, and you're going to repeat that and keep trying it on until the shorts become as wide as you want them to. So this is where I am after doing 1 increase row, and I'm gonna do about 6 increase rows. And for you, the best way to gauge this is, yes, your hips, like seeing how your hips go out. You want the shorts to also go out with your hips, but then you also want to make sure you have room for everything that you have back here. So the increase rows is really what's gonna form this part of the short. It's gonna look like a little V in the back side. So if it looks a little weird as you're doing the increases, you're definitely on the right track. This is where I am right now. I'm not done with the increases, but I just popped in to say that while you guys are doing your rows and you need something to watch, you should totally watch my last video. I think, yeah, it's gonna be my last video of me crocheting the black and white shorts. It's basically just like a vlog, but me, I love something to watch while I am doing repetitive rows of crocheting, so the link will be down below if you guys wanna check it out. Okay, this is what it looks like after my increase rows, and I am gonna do like this much more with just regular half double crochets now. Like no more increase rows, just regular half double crochets. So once I'm gonna pull it down a little bit, and once it's like this long, then we're gonna make a chain so it like connects front to back. I know this stance is like so awkward and weird, but I'm just trying to show you, like, so the goal is to get it this long so it like covers your front part all the way. like if it was like a very mini skirt. But you don't want it too long. You don't want to do the regular half double crochets to the point where it's like this, because then you just have like way too much space here. We need to stop like here, because then we're gonna make the middle part. I know this looks like inappropriate, but like bear with me guys. This is the length that I'm going to stop at. But now we're going to connect the middle part with a chain, and then we're gonna make the leg holes as long as we want. Like you could even make it into pants. So when I take them off, it looks something like this. Like you see this point going down, those are our increases. So after we've done a slip stitch in this last row, I'm gonna chain 10. And what the chain 10 is going to do, it's going to meet in the middle of the other side. It's going to connect like a bridge. Chaining 10 is what works for me for a size small, but you may need a little less, a little more, depending on what size you are and depending on if you want a tighter or looser fit. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And don't twist the chain when you meet it to the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect just yet. And then I'm gonna do a slip stitch on the other side and try to get it in the middle, but if not, this is what this next part is for. I'm just gonna chain 1 and pull up a loop. So now your project should look something like this, and this part you should definitely go ahead and try these on right now to see if this middle part is too loose. Like if it droops down, it's way too loose. Like it should hold itself like this. It should just like go right across the middle, but not too tight and not too loose. So now everything on this side is going to be one leg hole. And then everything on this side is going to be the second leg hole. And we're gonna count how many stitches. We're gonna take out our chain 10. Here, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I have 51 stitches on this side. And the goal is to have the same amount of stitches on the other side. So I have to keep in mind that I have 51. You're going to take however many that you have on this side, and now you're going to count the other side. And again, you're not counting the chain. You're counting everything around the chain on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. On this side, I have 47. So if on this side I have 51 and this side I have 47, I need to move it over. I'm going to take out that slip stitch. I'm going to remember where I put in this slip stitch. And if I move it over 1, this side has 48, and now this side has 50. And if I move it over another, this side has 49, and this side has 49. So that is where I'm going to insert my slip stitch. And if you still have uneven numbers, like one's 50, one's 51, you can do an increase, like put 2 stitches in on the side that has 1 less, so it's even. And right now I'm just going to double count just to make sure it is 49 on both sides. So now that you slip stitched in the space where both sides are even stitches on both sides, we have a chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work towards the chain that we made. And now we're going to work half double crochets in every single one of these chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last half double crochet in that last chain, and then I'm going to place a half double crochet right here as well. So right now we're going to put a half double crochet in every single one of these stitches, and we're going to keep repeating rounds until the leg hole is as long as we want it to be. So we have to keep trying this on as we go, but it's important that we keep track of how many rows that we're doing on the first leg hole, because we're going to need to replicate that on the second leg hole. So if you want to take a stitch marker and mark right before your first row, then you can do that, because it'll be easier for you to count how many rows that you've done. But yeah, we're just doing half double crochet in every stitch. Okie dokie, at the end of the round, we're going to place our last half double crochet, and then we're going to do a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, And then we're gonna do it again. Do it all over again. Half double crochets in every stitch around until we get to the end. Just to show you guys, when you get towards the end of this bridge, towards the end of the row, you're still gonna do just regular half double crochets all the way around and cross the bridge, cross the bridge, cross the bridge with half double crochets all the way through. And once we get to our last stitch, guess what we're gonna do, guys? We're going to make a slip stitch, chain 1, turn our work, and we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again, like I told you guys, until it is the length of your liking. Keep trying it on. Keep trying it on as you go. You can always put on another row. You can always take off a row, but just keep going until it is long enough. It's gonna be 88 degrees this week. Yeah, I'm gonna keep these pretty short. Like I said, I wanted these pretty short, and when you're trying them on for the final length, make sure the waistband is sitting where you want it to be. Just keep that in mind when you're trying it on. But now I'm ready to move on to the second leg hole. So after you've reached your length that you want, you're at the end of the row, you did your last stitch, you did your slip stitch to the beginning of the row, you're going to chain 1, and then you're gonna cut. And then you're gonna pull up that loop, make it a little tight, and then we're gonna move on to the next side. So it looks like this right now. You're gonna have like this little nudge right here. And on this next side, like we did this side, and now we're gonna do this side, and we're gonna work all of this in. First, I'm gonna count how many rows that I did on the first leg hole, and I only did 4. Like for you, it might be 16, I don't know. But whatever that number is, you're going to replicate it on the other side, and to get started, you're just gonna insert your yarn into a stitch. For me, I like to insert the stitch into the end of the chain that we did in this middle part. Pull yarn through like this, and then I'm just gonna tie it on. Like I'm gonna tie a knot. I like to tie it twice. 1 time, 2 times. We're gonna insert our hook in the stitch that we put that yarn in, and then we are gonna pull up a loop, chain 1. Do you guys see that? I hope you did. Because now we are going to put a half double crochet in every single one of these stitches. And I'm gonna show you what to do when you get to the chain, because it can, maybe it's a little tricky for some of us. So now that we know how many rows to do, we can just go at it. But I'm still gonna place a stitch marker right before I start doing my rows so I can make sure that I have an even amount. So now we can start placing all of our stitches, half double crochet. And now we're gonna do it all the way until the end, and I will meet you when we get to the little bridge, the little middle bridge. I'll meet you there, just in case you get a little confused. I'm here to help. I'm here to help you. Half double crochets. Half double crochets. And also, huge reminder to take a freaking break. That's why I'm filming this the next day. I could have literally locked in and did it all in one day. Like, this is such an easy and fast project, but no project, as cute as these shorts may be, and the fact that I want a million of them, doesn't matter. A wrist injury it's just not worth it. It's not worth getting a wrist injury. And I'm learning that my wrist is a lot more prone to injury right after getting one. I think that's a pretty obvious statement. Recently, I learned that a lot of you guys can relate to having a wrist injury from doing fiber arts. So if you feel yourself needing to take a break, if you don't know what that feels like, if you feel yourself having a strain in right here or anywhere, literally anywhere, if it's like a throbbing, if it's like a tension, if it's like sharp pain, please take a break. It is so not worth it. The amount of comments that I've gotten saying that people need surgery, that people couldn't crochet or even write for 6 months, I was blown out of the park. But now we are at our bridge part, and then we are going to place a half double crochet here, place a half double crochet, and just like kind of shove it in there, guesstimate. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but make sure you're not placing 2 stitches in one space, because that would be no bueno. Because I'm not even really putting it in the chain. Maybe I should be, but it's just too tight of a space, so I'm kind of going underneath it in a way. Yeah, but don't trip on this part. Just shove it in there. Get your half double crochets in there. I'm on my very last half double crochet. Now we're going to do what we did in our very first stitch. We're going to do a slip stitch, chain 1, turn our work, and now we're going to do it all over again. This bridge part now has sturdy half double crochets in it, so you shouldn't have a problem going over it. And then I did 1 row, that was my first row, and now I'm going to do 3 more rows, and you're going to do however many rows you want to do. Have fun! All right, we're wrapping up the very last row of our shorts. Last half double crochet, slip stitch, chain 1, and then we're gonna grab our scissors. Okay, and now we're gonna cut it. Pull up a cutie little loop, tighten it, and now the base of the shorts are finished. Congratulations. Congratulations, that's so exciting. Now we're gonna move on to the granny squares, guys. We're moving on to the granny squares. So for the granny squares, we're gonna do this color first, this color second, this color third, this color fourth. All right, so we're gonna grab the color that we've been working with. We're gonna do a magic circle, guys. Don't be intimidated, it's awesome. If you don't know how to do a magic circle, we're gonna teach you right now, and you're gonna know this forever now. You're never gonna lose this information. So this is the very end of the yarn. We're gonna grab it. We're gonna grab the very end of the yarn. We're just gonna put it on there, so it's just like kind of hanging off. And then you have this other side that's hanging around. Grab that, grab it, and just wrap it this way. And then make an X, and then pull this through like that. Magic circle. So if this magic circle is too hard for you to do it this way, just do how you do a slip knot. Slip knot. And don't pull it all the way. Make it loose. And that is a magic circle. You just made magic. Congratulations. Stick your hook in here. Should look something like this. This is your tail end. This is your working yarn. We're gonna chain 3, and then we're gonna place 2 double crochets into the loop. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the circle, chain 2, 3 double crochets into the circle, chain 2, and then last 3 double crochets into the circle, and then you're gonna chain 2 after that. This is 3, I'm gonna chain 2, and now you should have 4 clusters, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna tighten that, and then after you've chained 2, you're gonna slip stitch in the top of the chain 3. You're gonna chain 1, and you're gonna cut a loop. Cut, then you're gonna pull up this loop, and then now you're going to switch to color number 2. Color number 2, attach it to this corner. I'm just gonna tie it onto the corner, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and chain 3. Chain 1, 2, 3. 2 double crochets into that space. If you already know how to make a granny square, we're just going back and forth until we hit the 4th row. So it's gonna go row 1, row 2, row 3 with this color, row 4 with this color, and then you're done. But this is for people who don't know how to make a granny square. So then after you did that, you chain 2, and then you're gonna do 3 more double crochets into that same corner. So it should look something like this. And in the corners, you're always gonna do 3 double crochets separated by a chain 2, 3 more double crochets. So it's always gonna look like this in the corners of the squares. As I move on to the next corner, we're gonna do that same thing. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. And it should look like this. And then you see when we're going to work into the next round, it's gonna create this space right here. And this is not a corner space, but we're still gonna do 3 double crochets in here, but we're not gonna chain 2. The only places we chain 2 is right here in the corners, because that's what actually creates the corner. So in the next corner, we're gonna do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the same space. And then the last corner, we're gonna do the exact same thing. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the same space. We're just gonna slip stitch into there. We have a cutie little square. Now we're gonna do 2 more rows, chain 1, cut your yarn. And then we're gonna grab color A again. So now I'm going to attach color A to a corner. There's so many ways to make a basic granny square, so if you don't make it like this, it's honestly okay. And then after that, I'm going to chain 3, and we're in a corner space right now, so 2 more double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the same space. And then next up, we have this space, but it's not a corner space, so we're only gonna do 3 double crochets. We're not gonna chain, we're just gonna move on to this corner with 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more double crochets. The same rules apply for the rest of the square. Only 3 double crochets, don't chain. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, don't chain, slip stitch. All right, when we're at the end of the row, we're just going to slip stitch into the top of the row. Boom, chain 1, cut your work, pull up a loop. And then now we're going to do our very last row with this color right here. That's the thing with granny squares, is the more rows you do, you're just gonna have more of these spaces, but you're never going to have more corners because there's always going to be 4 corners in the square. So I'll meet you at the end of row 4 of the granny square. This is what we should be looking like at the end of row 4. And after you've slip stitched to the beginning of the row, chained 1, you can cut off a tail, weave in the ends, and after you've done that, you can make your second square, your second pocket. One thing I completely forgot to mention to you guys is when you cut off the tail, your granny square, make it long because we're gonna use this tail to sew it in. I didn't do it on my first one. Cut a tail very long, long enough to use it to sew because we're gonna sew it around the square. The longer the better, just so you don't run out of yarn, but it should look something like this at the end. And if you didn't end up cutting a long tail for sewing, it's okay because what you can do is you can just attach yarn. It's just more ends to weave. So it's not really a problem if you didn't. We're just gonna tie it on the end and then cut another long tail. And again, the longer the better, just so you don't run out. So right now we have 2 granny squares and these are gonna be our pockets. And before we sew them on, I am going to weave in all of the ends, not including the one that we're going to use for sewing, obviously. And I also wrap my wrist because it's starting to hurt. So big reminder to take breaks, guys. But I'll be back when I'm done weaving in all the ends. Okay, we have square 1 and we have square 2. This is my side that's going to go on the outside. This is my side that's going to go on the inside. This is my side that's going to go on the inside. This is my side that's gonna go on the outside. So yeah, my granny square definitely has an ugly side and a cute side, and we're putting the cute side on the outside. So now we're gonna find the back side of our shorts. This is gonna be the back side of our shorts because you are gonna be able to see that line. And then there's no line in the middle on this one, so this is gonna be the front side of our shorts. So on the back side of the shorts, we are going to place the granny square. You don't want it to be too low because then it becomes less of a functional pocket. You want it to be like a few inches from the waistband, like maybe a little higher, like so, like with this much space. And once you find that you like a placement on this side, then you're going to stitch mark it. Oh, my stitch markers are right in front of me. But before you stitch mark it, we're gonna make sure our yarn is attached to the corner because if this is gonna be a pocket, we're not gonna sew this part closed. We're only sewing or this way, this way, this way. So whichever way you're starting at. So I want my granny square to be like right here. So I'm either gonna have my string on this top corner or this top corner. And then I'm gonna sew around just so I'm not sewing this shut. So once I feel like I love my placement of my granny square, I'm gonna stitch mark it on. And then I'm gonna try my absolute best to replicate that on the other side just so it's symmetrical. And then I'm just gonna like stitch mark it diagonally. Like I'm not gonna put 4 stitch markers, I'm just gonna put a stitch marker here at the top corner and then a stitch marker on the other side right there. So it looks something like this. And then now I'm gonna do the other side and try my absolute best to match it. So, okay, so quick note, if you did cut off a long end, instead of like attaching the long string in the corner, your string is gonna be right here, which is not the corner. So you're gonna need to take a darning needle and loop it, like weave it through all the way until it reaches the corner. So I'm gonna do that right now. So now it's at the corner, so now I can place my stitch markers. When you're really trying to get it symmetrical, lay it down on a flat surface, just so you can see from like an overhead view if it's symmetrical or not, and it's not like curved or anything like that. So the way we made the shorts, they're gonna have like little curves and stuff, but I'm just gonna line them up with the direction that the stitches are going. Like the stitches are kind of like slanted a little bit, like they're kind of going in instead of just being straight across. So I'm not gonna place the square straight across. I'm just gonna line it up with the stitches, and I'm also gonna line it up with the first square that I placed. Try to make it as symmetrical as possible. This is arguably the hardest part of the project because I feel like the squares is what actually makes it cute. So if you have to spend a lot of time getting this right, it's definitely worth it. It definitely will be worth it in the end. But at the same time, if it's not absolutely perfect, like don't even trip. Don't trip if it's not perfect. Now that I have my squares placed where I want them to be, I'm going to start sewing, whichever one I want to start with. And we are just gonna go into the stitches, like the very edge of the stitch of the granny square. Put it through one side of the shorts. Like every time you push it through, make sure you're not pushing it through both sides. Only one side, pull through. You're just gonna sew all the way through. But don't sew the shorts together because then you won't be able to put them on at all. And just take your time with this part. Like I know it's a little tedious, but if you rush it, then the squares will be unevenly placed. You're more prone to messing up. But I've done this a bunch of times, so I'm not even looking on the inside of the shorts, but I highly recommend looking on the inside to see where you're sewing. And if you have like brown lines and stuff, or whatever color you're using, if you have lines and you can see where you're sewing, that's honestly okay, because these are the inside of the shorts and I don't know why you would have any reason to like expose the inside of the shorts, because these shorts are not meant to wear inside out. So personally, I'm not worried at all about the inside looking a little messy. I'm honestly super okay with it. And also make sure you're pulling your yarn all the way through and there's not like a big loop and then you like went in and sewed again before you pulled your yarn all the way through. I almost just made that mistake. And I feel like when I'm sewing, I get very zoomed in on what I'm doing, but it's okay to like, it's honestly really good to zoom out and see like, okay, where am I at? Like, is this completely uneven? And zoom out, I mean like take a step back and like hold your project to actually look at it. But if you really mess up and you really don't like it, then you can always redo it. And you can sew over your stitch marker. Like don't be afraid to sew over the stitch marker. That's literally what I just did. But if you're sewing over the stitch marker, make sure you make it pretty tight, just so when you take out the stitch marker, there's not like a loophole just sticking out. All right, I'm gonna meet you guys at the end of sewing square number 1. We're gonna sew all the way up to the corner, but we're not gonna sew too far in to the corner. You can easily see where to stop sewing when you like pull it out and see like if this corner is like drooping a little too much. So it should look like something like this. So after square number 1 is all the way sewed on, you have a cute little pocket. Double check on the inside to see if you sewed both sides together, if there are any loops. If it looks like this, it may look a little messy to some of you, but like honestly, it's okay. But you should have a string left over. I definitely cut way too much yarn, but that's okay. The more the merrier. But I'm gonna loop it back through. I'm gonna like skip a stitch just so I'm not undoing my last sew. And then you can just weave this end into the granny square, but like don't reattach it to the actual shorts. Just weave the end into the granny square and not into the shorts now. Personally, I just like to go back and forth along the top of the square, and then when I reach the end of the top of the square, I'll run it through just like the corner cluster of the granny square, and then I'll stick it through, and then I'll push it through the back, and then I can cut it off now. Cut that off. So now I'm gonna see if I need to readjust my second square before I start sewing it. And I think it's looking pretty good where it's at, so I'm gonna start sewing it now. And we're just gonna follow those same exact steps as we did for the first square. We're gonna make sure that your yarn's placed in the corner. Just be careful not to push it through both sides and you'll be good. Pull it all the way through and you'll be good. I'll see you at the end of this square, guys. Boom. Last. So we have our second pocket officially. And now I'm gonna do what I just did on the first side. I'm gonna slip it through the front, and now I'm gonna go back and forth, weave in this end to the top of the pocket. After this part is like the part where it's like really relieving. After you've done this part of the shorts, you know you made it. Reach the end of the pocket, and now I'm going to weave it into that first cluster of 3 double crochets. Boom. I'm gonna take out these stitch markers, and now I can officially cut off my yarn. We could take out the stitch markers on this side as well. And then you can stick your hands inside of the pockets just to see like if everything is in place. Flip it inside out just to see, make sure you didn't sew both sides together, because that would be a not functional pair of shorts. And now we can move on to the drawstring, but if you do want to weave in these ends, if you haven't already, you can weave them in right now, just so when you finish the drawstring, you're like really finished. You don't have to weave in the ends. I think I'm still gonna weave in the ends at the very end, but let's do the drawstring. For the drawstring, you can use a completely different color from these two colors, because somebody commented on my video and said that a different drawstring color would stand out a little bit more, and I honestly agreed with them. This is dark brown and like a cream color, so maybe the waistband could be white. So the drawstring that we're gonna make is gonna be made up of foundation single crochet, and the thing that I love about that is that it's technically just one row. It's all just, not even technically, it's just one chain. There's gonna be no chain to turn your work, do another thing. We're just gonna make a slip knot. Boom. This kind of is a full circle moment because this is what we did in the very beginning of the tutorial, and now we're at the very end. So congratulations if you've made it this far and you didn't give up, and you're gonna have a really cute pair of shorts on your hands. But what you're gonna do for the foundation single crochet, I'm gonna teach you guys again just in case you forgot. We're gonna chain 2. 1, 2. We're gonna insert our hook into the very first chain that we made. We are going to put a single crochet in that chain. Now we have a single crochet in that very first loop that's sitting on the top. Insert your hook and do a single crochet in there. Now in that very first loop at the top, insert your hook, do a single crochet. And then you're gonna repeat that over and over and over again. I'm personally not even counting how many that I'm doing, but even if you're not close to being done your foundation single crochets, watch the next clip when I show you how to get your ideal size drawstring. All right, we're gonna turn this around to the front side, and I'm gonna show you how I measure it. So I literally just line it up with the back side. I just like lay it flat, make sure it's flat, and then I bring it around to the front side. So I want the drawstrings to kind of be hanging like so. I want them to meet right here. And I don't want what's hanging to be too long, just because I have to keep in mind that I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna pull it tighter, just a little bit tighter, and I wouldn't want it to like hang all the way down, unless like that's what you want. But you just have to keep in mind that this is going to be pulled a little tighter, and when you do that, this is going to be a little bit longer. And you also don't want it to be too short. When we weave the drawstring in, you don't want it to just slip out from, you know, just being way too short. And a good way to test to see if you like it is to literally just tie it around itself, not extremely tight, but something like this. Like, see, for me, I would want these a little bit longer just so I can tie a more functional bow right here. So I'm gonna do that. So now I'm gonna try it again, bring it to the front. And now I'm seeing like maybe this is a little too long for me. So I'm gonna undo some of them now. And something like this is honestly perfect for me for when I tie it and stuff. So now I can take the very end of my row, you just chain 1 and then cut a little string, pull up the loop and tighten. And now we're gonna need our darning needle again, just because we are going to weave this through the posts. But tie that on there tight. And then we're gonna identify the middle of the front side. So when identifying the middle of the front, you can literally just kind of look at where we did that chain, like the middle part right here, and just like work our finger up. And this is about the middle. Like, I would say that this is like the middle post, this post right here, like it's sticking up. And I'm gonna mark that with a stitch marker just so we can see what's what. So that's officially been identified as the middle of the waistband. We're gonna pick up our drawstring with the darning needle, and then we're gonna look at the very middle post of the shorts. And then there are gonna be 2 posts next to it. Like, this is the middle post, and then there are 2 posts next to it right here. Middle post, the post next to it, and then there's a space. I'm gonna insert my drawstring through that space, and then I'm gonna pull it through until the length of the string that I want to hang is hanging. Like, I measured it to have this, about this much of the string hanging. And now we're gonna weave it front to back through the posts, but in between this post spaces. So I'm gonna come back in through here, and then I'm gonna go in through here. And you can literally just take your needle to do it faster. Instead of pulling it back and forth, you can go up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then you can just like pull it through like this. In, out, in, out, in, out. And do you see at this point where the string is being pulled through? Like, it's not being pulled through this front space or the very bottom space. So there should be a little bit more space of the waistband on the top than the bottom in terms of the spacing between where the drawstring is. So just keep weaving it in and out until you get towards the end, and I'll show you guys what to do. So we're just about towards the end. This is the very middle post, and you see we skipped a post and then the drawstrings hanging out. It's kind of going to be the same on this side. So it's going to be very middle post, the post next to it, and then the space next to it. So I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to come out there. So ideally where we would want to end is you would want to come out right here. So it would be symmetrical with the first side, but it's honestly okay that it's not that way. And now I'm just gonna like pull through the drawstring to make both sides even and keep playing with it to make sure that both sides hang just about the same. So these at the very end, you can either weave them back into the drawstring, or you can just cut them, but not all the way. If you do just want to cut them, that's kind of what I just do. I just cut a little and then I just pull them really tight. So now your last and only step, if you haven't done it already, is weaving in the rest of the ends. Any ends on the inside and out, just get it done and over with, and you'll have a pair of fantastic shorts. I love these shorts so much, so I'm gonna go weave in the ends so I can finally be done. All right, so this is our very last fitting. You can tie our little bow. Final product of the shorts, guys! Oh my god, they're so cute. And they're so comfortable too. Are the pockets a little uneven? I can't really tell right now. I've got to be honest though, every pair of shorts that I've made, like every pair of these shorts that I've made, the pockets are just a little uneven. But that's a beautiful part about being human and not a perfect machine, is that there are a few imperfect things about it, but you just try your best. Wow, these shorts are so cute. I want to thank you guys for following the tutorial, and if you made this successfully or not successfully, I really want you to give me your feedback, your honest feedback about what you thought about the shorts and the tutorial, and tag me on Instagram if you post the shorts on your story, on your feed, or whatever. I would really love to see them, and share this with your other crochet friends if you enjoyed this tutorial. And I'm gonna make a bunch more of these because these are a new staple in my closet. Also, if you have any questions about the tutorial, about the shorts or anything, I will be happy to answer any questions. I'm gonna be responding to all of my comments, so stay in the loop, subscribe, comment, like this video, share this video, and turn my notifications on, and I will see you guys really, really soon. Bye. I'ma hit the gas. Ride the bitch, we driving real fast in the GT3 RS.